Hello and welcome to Windmasters. Today we're sailing along southern Dalmatia. We're visiting small towns on the Makarska Riviera with breathtaking beaches and crystal clear sea. We're sailing to the biggest city in Dalmatia, Split, with its numerous historical monuments and interesting city life. We'll end our journey on Brač Island, visiting one of the most beautiful beaches in the Adriatic Sea. Get ready and let's sail away! The Tučepi area has been inhabited since ancient times. According to preserved old Illyrian documents in the Albanian language, its name means village near the water source. It is interesting that until about 50 years ago, most of the inhabitants lived in the villages above present-day Tučepi. After a catastrophic earthquake in 1962 and the hardships of life there, most of the population went down to the coast and founded a new settlement called Kraj, which we know today as Tučepi. Boaters can find a place to anchor in the city harbor. Tučepi is a destination known for its beautiful beaches and sea, and we decided to explore a restaurant known for its superb gastronomy, which is a combination of modern and traditional Dalmatian cuisine. A restaurant that spoils its guests with a superb welcome and the most beautiful view of the sea and a beach literally 5 meters from the restaurant are one of the biggest bonuses. And the food is simply divine. From imaginative and beautiful appetizers that showcase all the richness of the fish and shells of the Adriatic Sea, prepared in unusual and delightful ways. Regardless of whether your favorites are tuna and avocado spread seasoned with olive oil, goose liver pâté with truffle and cherry jelly, or smoked swordfish with 3 types of caviar. The main course is equally impressive. Monkfish with black polenta, carrot chips, 3 types of caviar, and truffle sauce. Ox cheek with potato cake and artichoke cream is a must-try dish. The preparation and serving itself is pure art. This is a typical example of the combination of traditional and modern cuisine of this region. And those with a sweet tooth will not be left disappointed. Desserts with lavender are a complete and ideal summer refreshment, after which all that remains is to jump a few meters further to the beach and immerse yourself in the crystal clear sea for complete enjoyment. At the foot of the massive Biokovo mountain is a whole series of settlements and small towns. Today, we will visit one of the most beautiful, Baška Voda. Once a settlement of farmers and fishermen, merchants and sailors, Baška Voda has grown into a modern tourist resort with all the amenities and characteristics of a small Mediterranean town. St. Nicholas is the patron saint of travelers and sailors, and is also the patron saint of Baška Voda. A monument was built in his honor at the entrance to the port. Baška Voda also boasts two important museum collections in the old core of the town. An archaeological collection owned by the municipality, and an extremely rich and high-quality malacological collection owned by the Jurisic and Akčić families. It is a private collection of over 1,000 species of shells and different marine organisms that live in the Adriatic, but also in the world's seas. Most of the exhibited shells and fish were caught in the area of Baška Voda, and all of them were personally collected by the owner of this interesting gallery. This area has been inhabited since prehistoric times, as evidenced by the numerous finds that can be seen in the Archaeological Museum collection. In ancient times, there was the settlement of Aronia at the site of Baška Voda. In the 7th century, Croats occupied Aronia, and it ceased to exist as an organized settlement. The abundance of remains of amphorae and ceramic dishes testify to Aronia's commercial importance. Various statuettes, objects, and coins found in old Roman tombs are also on display. The most famous and most visited beaches are the long white pebble beaches that stretch over 6 kilometers in length. The beach has a blue flag, an international mark of quality, and is a sign of concern for the environment and the meeting of international standards. It is consistently at the top of the selection of the best beaches on the Croatian Adriatic. The Daily Mail ranked Nikolina Beach among the 10 most attractive beaches in the Mediterranean in 2015. The area from the sea to the mountains is networked with about 100 kilometers of hiking trails suitable for mountain biking. There are marked and maintained hiking trails on the mountain, but going on a hiking trip to Biokovo is recommended only in the company of professional guides. The Dalmatian archipelago and the crystal clear sea of the Makarska Riviera are a lure for many sailors. There are also 2 harbors in Baška Voda municipality, Baška Voda with 200 and Krvavica with 150 berths with the necessary amenities for boaters. Brela is a small tourist town on the Makarska Riviera. Brela offers the wealth of a crystal-clear sea, 6 kilometers of natural pebble beaches, the scent and beauty of a dense pine forest, which is mostly a protected monument of cultural heritage, and numerous hiking trails along the sea. One of the most recognizable symbols of Brela is a rock in the sea on the westernmost side of the Punta Rata beach called Brela Stone. This attractive rock is interesting because of the vegetation that covers it. One of the pine trees on the rock is over 100 years old. Not far from Dubrovnik is the town of Slano. A new modern marina was opened here in 2016, which brilliantly replaced the lack of moorings for sailors on this part of the coast. Slano is a nice Dalmatian place that is ideal for evening walks and enjoying the sea after mooring the boat in the marina. The marina is located in a beautiful bay that has always been a good shelter for all boats. For recreationists and guests looking for a more active vacation, the Dubrovnik coast offers a 50-kilometer-long bicycle path. Lopud, a small town stretching along a bay of the same name on the island of the same name, is lush with vegetation. It is the cradle of Dubrovnik's shipping tradition, and its Sunj Bay are only 10 miles away. Tučepi, the last inhabited southern Adriatic island, awaits us a few miles further east. The marina offers its guests 193 moorings in the sea for boats up to 50 meters in length.
Close hauling is a position of sailing which is closest to the wind. We cannot go more closer in the wind than in close hauling. How can we know that the sails are perfectly trimmed and that we are in the good position? We can see tails on the front sail and jib. If the inner one is flapping, we can see it now. Let's force it. Okay, the inner one started flapping, so that's the indicator that we are too much in the wind. We want to bear away, we want to move from the wind, or move away from the wind. We want them to be parallel, the inner and outer one. Once they're parallel, we know that we are in the perfect position for close hauling. if we are bearing away too much, if we are too much away from the wind, outside tail will start flapping. We can force it like this. Okay, it's in the shade, but maybe you can see it started flapping. Now we want to luff up. We want to go in the wind and wait for them to be parallel again. Okay, now they are parallel. How can we know for the mainsail if it's trimmed well? Okay, if we go in the wind too much, like this, the front part of the sail, which is luff, will start flapping. Okay, we can see it now. It starts flapping. Then we want to bear away a little bit or go away from the wind. Now we have perfect shape again.
Split is the second largest city in Croatia and the cultural, political, and economic center of Dalmatia. The city of Split was founded in 295 when the construction of Diocletian's palace began. This monumental project was completed 10 years later and is one of the most beautiful and largest urban complexes from the Roman era. The palace was actually a real small town built on the model of a castrum. That is a Roman military camp, surrounded by high defensive walls with towers, fully functional and independent. It was built and lived in by the retired Roman Emperor Gaius Aurelius Valerius Diocletian, a native of Dalmatia, more precisely from the vicinity of Salona. In the Middle Ages, that is, in the period from the 12th to the 14th century, numerous medieval buildings were built inside the palace. One of the most famous builders of that time, who is responsible for many sumptuous noble palaces, was Juraj Dalmatinac. In the Cathedral of St. Duje is also his masterpiece, the Altar of St. Stash. It was at that time that one of the most recognizable symbols of the city of Split was created, the Cathedral of St. Dujem, or St. Duje, as the people of Split call it. St. Dujem was the first bishop of Salona, and a magnificent cathedral was built in his honor. The beautiful bell tower of the cathedral, 57 meters high, was built in the 13th century. It is interesting that Emperor Diocletian was a fierce persecutor of Christians and residents of Salona, and it was by his order that Saint Duje and other martyrs were killed in the amphitheater in Salona. In front of the cathedral is the peristyle, a square surrounded by columns which is the center of the cultural life of Split, and where, due to its extraordinary acoustics, the traditional cultural and musical event, Split Summer, is held. From the 15th to the end of the 18th century, Split, like most of Dalmatia, was under the rule of Venice. After the fall of the Venetian government, the city came briefly under the administration of Austria, and from 1805 to 1813, under the rule of Napoleon's France. the most beautiful streets in the city of Split is a testament to the short-lived rule of the French here, Marmontova. Although a conqueror, Napoleon's Marshal Marmont is responsible for the urbanization of Dalmatian towns. So the people of Split, in turn, named one of the most beautiful streets in the city in his honor. The street is still the center of urban life in Split. Trg Republike, or Prokurative Square, is one of the most beautiful squares in Split. Beautiful neo-Renaissance buildings adorn it on 3 sides, while the 4th is open to the sea. Various cultural and musical events are held in the square in the summer months. We found a safe harbor and refuge in the marina, located just a few hundred meters from the city center, which is reached by a beautifully decorated promenade. The Azi Marina Split is protected by a solid stone breakwater from southerly winds and seas. The marina has 318 berths in the sea for ships with a maximum length of 90 meters and 30 berths on land. The city port of Split is a large ferry port, which requires increased caution when entering. Ships have the right of way when setting sail, and interference is not recommended. For the same reason, anchoring is prohibited in the entire port area, except in case of emergency. The port is entered through a wide passage marked with light and daylight markers. One can orient oneself by using the striking bell tower of the Cathedral of St. Duje, Cape Sustipan, and the stone lighthouse, a monument to the sailor and a stone obelisk with light as markers. Supetar is the largest settlement on the island of Brač and is also its only city. As such, it is the administrative, cultural, and tourist center of the island. The Church of St. Mary's Annunciation from the 18th century, with a beautiful bell tower and a church museum, is a sight not to be missed. Bol is situated on the southern part of the island of Brač and is the oldest town on the coast of the island. At only 10 kilometers distance from Bol, conveniently Brač Airport. Numerous low-cost airlines have their flights on offer during the summer months. So if you're not coming by sailboat or by car, the best way to arrive is by plane. This amazing natural beach is by far one of the most beautiful in all of the Adriatic. There's also an interesting feature to it. In fact, the very tip of the peninsula constantly changes shape and position due to the influence of wind and sea current, so you will often see it in a completely different way. We have reached the end of our route, and in the next episode, we'll continue sailing towards the island of Šolta, the beautiful island of Hvar, and the mystical island of Vis. Watch us in the next episode, and remember, a bad day sailing is 100 times better than a good day at work.